And as promised, we are joined right now by the beautiful, very, very popular, growing superstar in the industry, Lily Lovecraft, joining us. How are you doing so far this evening?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I am awesome. We appreciate you showing love and hanging out with us. I know you're busy, and so we appreciate your time. Let's not waste any of the time, actually. Let's get right into it. We got a lot of people that are excited to have you on. First of all, as a kid, were you kind of always wild, adventurous, free-spirited? Did you always know that you wanted to be an entertainer of some sort?
Yeah, I definitely was always on stage. Ever since I was a little girl, I was always performing in theater and also music. I studied to be a classical singer for a long time. I was in my own band for a little while.
Wow.
I love art, I love to create things. I still try to do as much art as possible and do little horror films and such with friends of mine who are in school for cinematography and things like that. But mostly now I focus on doing porn. But I always was into bondage ever since I was super young, so I guess that in that way you could consider me to be wild and different, and I was definitely the girl in high school who had anal sex, so
How did you discover
But I was a good girl. I only was with one guy in high school. I didn't ever drink or do drugs. I focused hard on getting good grades.
Wow.
So in some ways, and in others not.
That is very interesting. First of all, how did you discover bondage? Being that young, how did you even stumble upon it, and how did it, pique your interest in the beginning?
I was always interested in it. I think maybe I was born that way. Even when I was super young, 5, 6, 7 years old, I would make the Ken Barbie doll turn all the female Barbies into slaves, like sex slaves. So, by the time that I was 12, I was reading really, really hardcore bondage, all sorts of sick, twisted stuff, a type of fan fiction on the internet for anime that I liked, and I don't know. I was always attracted to it. Even watching horror films was kind of like porn to me.
Gotcha. So how did that transition into modeling and then the getting into the industry? Did you do the dancing? Did you start that route, or did you just get right into the hardcore scenes?
Well, I did dance for about 3 months when I was 18.
Okay.
And I made good money, and I enjoyed it. And then it was about a year and a half ago now, I started camming, and I was a cam girl for a couple months, but I didn't really like it. And I decided that I wanted to try to get into porn, and I had always wanted to, do more fetish stuff. It's a big part of my normal life anyways. So why not do something that I already love and enjoy and share with other people, and also take an opportunity to be able to stand up for, sexuality and let people know that it's okay to be who you are and experiment and try things, and that your sexuality is nothing to be ashamed of, and that we're all on this journey trying to self-discover.
Sure.
But, so I called a lot of agencies. I've learned a lot now that I've been in the industry for a little while. But I called a lot of agencies. I did a lot of research online. I looked into lots of interviews. The first interview I saw was an interview that had Nina Hartley in it, where she was explaining how sex is not the interview, sex is the job. And I liked her immediately. I am a huge fan of her as a performer and as a woman. And so I tried to get in by contacting these agencies that were actual agencies, and people did not want to sign me because I do not have big boobs. I'm all natural, I'm tattooed, I'm just myself, and I got rejected a lot. But I'm also a very determined person, and I don't think that anyone can stand here and tell me I'm not beautiful the way that I am. If I don't fit the mainstream, it's whatever. I know that my fans will like me, and there are people who will like me. So even if I don't reach everybody, that there are always going to be people who do like me with small boobs. So I ended up doing some more research, and I found out that there's a thing in the industry. It's called doing the upswing. It's when you start in a brothel in Nevada, and basically it shows people that you are willing to have sex for money, and that you're not going to be afraid of doing it on camera. So it gives you a little bit more credit in the industry. And so I went to a brothel. I was working for Dennis Hoffman for a while. And I met a lot of other porn stars that were there. One of the girls there connected me actually with Nina Hartley over the phone, and I talked to her. And I told her I was an aspiring porn star that wanted to do fetish work, and she got me in contact with kink.com, and kink.com hired me because of Nina Hartley. So
that is awesome.
That's kind of how I got my foot in the door.
That is a great story. Speaking of kink.com, we had Simone Sonnet was on with us on our previous channel. Have you ever had the chance to work with her or get to meet her at all? I know she did some work. Oh,
no.
Not really. Okay, yeah, I know she was doing some
Not
work.
yet.
Yeah, she was doing some work for them. I'm a big fan of hers, and so I just was curious if you had the chance to run into her. Well, that's another thing I was going to ask you then. Since you had gotten the chance to work in the brothel, did that make you less nervous when you show up to do your first, scene? Actually, did that make that sort of an easy transition for you?
I mean, my first ever shoot, because at the same time of doing that, I was applying online, because pretty much anybody who wants to be an aspiring porn star, I would like to encourage that you can always do it on your own, and that you can be independent, and no one can stand in your way if you're determined. All you have to do is go on to porn websites and apply as a model, and it's not that hard, So, but my first ever shoot, because I got a bunch all at the same time when I was first shooting in December last year. So it's almost been a full year of me doing film work. And the first one I did was for a company called facefucking.com. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I was watching some of your clips on there earlier.
Do you know
Yeah.
facefucking?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a very hardcore site to work for. I knew it going into it. I was expecting it to be hardcore. I like to go hard anyways. I really dedicate myself 100% to everything that I do. And when I did the shoot there, I was told that it was one of the most hardcore scenes that they've ever done. So I think probably maybe the brothel had a little bit to do with it. I think that being at a brothel is actually scarier than going to a porn shoot,
Yeah. What was that? I was watching, like I said, I was watching some of those clips, and I mean, you are badass. Some of the stuff you did, I was sitting there, and I was like, did you ever get to a point, like even not necessarily just in those scenes, but in your personal life, have you ever had something that's gone too far where you said, hey, this is hurting, this is uncomfortable, and you've made someone stop? Has it ever gotten to that point for you?
Well, the fact is that in my personal life, I'm actually a 24/7 submissive. And so the things that I do on camera, a lot of times they are not as hard as I go in my personal life.
Wow.
So I don't know. I've never had to stop at anybody. When I get uncomfortable, it's usually because of a personal thing with a person in my personal life, where somebody makes me feel kind of creeped out, or like I don't want to be involved sexually with them anymore on a personal level. But as for like the violence and the bondage thing, not really. I mean, I've done some crazy things in my personal life, so
Gotcha.
I just love it.
Gotcha. That is awesome. We were visiting with Lily Lovecraft. A few more questions. I'll let you get out of here. What about, this is another question. So how many, right now, how often are you working? How often are you booked for scenes? Like in an average week, how much do you do shoots?
Well, I have been in a huge transition lately. So I did a spurt of shoots all together at the beginning of my career. But I was also living at the brothel at the time. And so it was a little bit hard to manage all of that. And then I had made the decision to leave the brothel, and then I didn't want to be living at that one anymore.
Okay.
And so I had a more of a focus on my personal life at that time, where I was like going back to Washington and being with my sister and my dog, and seeing my master, and just being myself, I guess, for a while, because working at a brothel really takes a lot out of you. You are working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, giving all of yourself to another person, and really never leaving anything for yourself. So I really just took a long break. After I took a break, I came back, and I would always accept any shoot that Kink sends my way, because I love working for Kink. Like, they treat people so well there, like a real actress, and they're so professional. And so even during that time period when Kink was sending me shoots, I was still working for Kink. But then I signed with an agent, and it was an exclusive contract, and so that means that I could not be working independently anymore. The agent got me one booking, and then did not get me any further booking for over 60 days, which makes the contract void. And so during that time, I was not shooting at all. Right now, I have just recently got onto an arrangement with a new agent who does not have me on an exclusive contract, so I'm still able to do what I do. And he is also helping me make my own content right now. I'm in the middle of trying to get enough content to launch my own website, which should be happening probably in the next month or two. So I'm doing a lot of shoots for myself right now.
That is awesome.
But I'm also about to do a string of shoots this month, some of which I would love to talk about, but some people have me sign things that make it so that I can't say anything before I do it.
Gotcha.
I
I completely understand that. We won't press you on that. I was doing my research, being professional, of course. So I was watching your clips and some of your scenes. What do you enjoy most? The scenes with the girl stuff, the boy-girl? I know you did some gangbang type stuff. What are the scenes that you really, really enjoyed the most?
Oh, my favorite scenes are definitely going to be like gangbangs. My favorite is really, if you like strip out bondage, would really be double penetration. I just really love. I love cocks. I prefer men to women. I think that women are really beautiful, and I have a lot of respect for women and for their bodies. And I mean, I consider myself to be hetero-flexible, so I have relationships with men. I fall in love with men. I mainly have sex with men, but I have no problem having sex with a woman, if that makes any sense to you.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Actually, so one of the last few questions I have for you, I was going to ask you, as far as, on the set, this is a question I'm sort of a germaphobe myself. So have you ever had a scene where you were, I don't know what they make you guys shower and clean up. Have you ever had a scene where you did a scene with someone and they didn't smell the freshest or the cleanest? Was that ever something that you run into?
I've never had that problem in the film industry. Everyone in the film industry I worked with has been very clean and smelling good. I am a very safe person. I've had sex with over 500 men, and I've never had an STD. I know a lot about safe sex, and I really try to encourage everyone to practice safe sex. And that it takes a lot of work and knowledge to figure that out, because it's not really taught in school how to really, really be safe,
That's true.
Especially in situations where you're having sex with multiple partners at once. But I did once have an experience at the ranch with a woman, actually, who she was there with some guys. They were friends. They were all drinking a copious amount of tequila. And this woman was very smashed, and she was also, like, more than pervy, you know.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to have her first ever really like penetrative lesbian experience where it wasn't just like fingers and tongues and stuff. And so I was like, okay, and I brought her into my room, and it was like only a 30-minute session with me using the dildo on her, really.
Yeah.
But people have a way of sweating out tequila.
Oh, wow.
And smelling so bad. Like, even after she left my room, I had to air it out and spray it down for hours afterwards because the smell was so bad.
Wow. Yeah, I think I would have had to kind of walk out in the middle of that and just give her her money back or something. Well, before you go, we have a crazy segment called Rapid Fire. I just throw some quick topics out there and you just, whatever comes to mind. So in your personal life, is Lily Lovecraft an exhibitionist? In your day-to-day when you're not working, are you an exhibitionist?
My problem with that is that I spend a lot of time working because even when I don't do just porn, I have other ways that I'm doing things. Like I do my own private submission things and all sorts of stuff on camera for personal videos and all sorts of like that. I have a very, very, very high sex drive that has actually ended relationships with guys before because I want sex more than most people, and I guess it's not normal to want to have sex 3 times a day, but
wow. Sign me up.
Before I was in the sex industry, I was a huge exhibitionist. I was always getting naked in public and giving blowjobs in alleyways while people watched, and it's not the same being in front of a camera and just a couple people.
Yeah.
It's a little similar, and it's still exciting, but it's not like that spontaneous moment when you go out into the world and you're just like, see someone beautiful and do something crazy and wild for a minute and then walk away from it and just leave it at that, which I think is amazing. I think that it's one of the most beautiful things that you can do is to create moments like that.
No doubt. So
but now it's mostly for the fans, you know. It's a little bit different for me.
Gosh, how have you adjusted to social media now? I know you're gaining followers every day, and that's going to continue to grow as you make more and more of a mark in the industry. What's it like having people DMing you and following your every move? Is that creepy? Is it something you embrace and you enjoy?
Some of the times I love it. I get some of the most beautiful fan letters from people who, most of them are men, but sometimes I do get fan letters from women too, which I love. I get letters from people who feel suicidal and sad and all sorts of things, and they tell me that, watching my porn and seeing the kind of things that I go through, being such a small, tiny little girl, and being so brave, and being able to show that on camera makes them feel like they can be brave too. And so that really is moving to me. It makes me feel really good about myself, like I actually maybe make some kind of a difference in the world, which you can only hope that you do. But some of the times I get people who are not polite. I will talk to anybody. I try to talk to as many people as possible every day on social media. Sometimes I get tired and I have to take a couple days off, but even when I do that, my fans go a little bit crazy and they want me to get back online, and I'm getting messages like, where are you?
Yeah.
And things like that. Sometimes I get messages from people that are just like demanding things from me or asking me to tell them that I love them, or some people are kind of like crazy stalkers. I've had like a couple issues with stalkers over the last year. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure. But I mean, I guess even though some of it's been not the best, I've really loved the adventures that I've been on.
That's all you can ask for. You can do a sex scene with, no doubt. You can do a sex scene with any celebrity, mainstream celebrity, male or female. Who are you gonna pick?
Okay. Mainstream celebrity. Ooh, this one's a hard one. I don't usually like get as attracted to actors and things like that as other people do.
Okay.
And I'm not as into pop culture as other people as well. I generally like pretty weird poetry and like punk rock and goth stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, oh gosh, it would be a hard one. When I was younger, it would be weird now. I don't think I would want to do it now, but if I could go back in time,
Okay.
I would really like to be able to do a scene with the actor who played Alex in A Clockwork Orange.
Oh wow, that is a definitely quirky selection there. That is old school. That's going back a while.
Wouldn't it be great though? He was also in Caligula, which I once had sex with a boyfriend for the full 3 hours of that movie, which is almost all sex, and I mean it's pretty twisted, dark sex.
Oh wow, that is
But that movie turned me on. That's like porn to me.
Interesting choice. Thong or commando? Which are you right now?
What?
Thong or commando? Which are you right now as we speak?
Oh, okay. Well, let me check. I don't remember. Oh, I'm wearing a thong.
All right, and the very last one is your all-time favorite movie.
My all-time favorite movie it has to be the movie Party Monster with Seth Green and Macaulay Culkin and Marilyn Manson.
I love that.
It's the best movie ever. I've seen it probably like 500 times. I know every line in that movie. It's a true story about the New York 80s club scene.
Oh wow, I'll have to check that one out. I haven't heard that one.
It's amazing. You won't even be able to tell who Marilyn Manson is, so I'm going to tell you right now that Marilyn Manson plays the drag queen, Christine, in it. So if you want to see Marilyn Manson in a long blonde wig and a tube dress,
I am on that one. I am definitely checking that out. Now, before you go, you got to let us know, promote yourself. Let us know current projects that you're working on. You mentioned your website's coming. I know we'll get that when you get that updated. Make sure you let me know, and I'll put the links up on the interview. But what are your social media, all that different kind of stuff? How can we find you and keep up with you and everything you've got going on?
Okay, yeah. Anyone can follow me. I'm on Snapchat, which is Lily Lovecraft. I'm on Instagram, which is Lily Lovecraft _official_. And then I'm on Twitter, which is @LovecraftLily. Yeah, and people can email me too. I love hearing from people. So my email address is also LilyLovecraft@gmail.com.
Sounds good. You are a class act. I love your energy, love your vibe. You're down to earth, cool and humble. Great personality. We are big fans of yours. We're going to make sure we direct all of our followers and fans to watch you, check you out, keep up with you. Thank you so much for doing this tonight on short notice, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Oh, thank you so much. I had a wonderful time talking to you, and thanks for having me on your show. I'm super excited to see it.
Okay, I'll get a shot over to you here as soon as we get it done.
Alrighty.
Thank you. Lily Lovecraft, she's a very cool girl. Check her out. Like I said, follow her on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter as well, JRicharson402. Great interviews like that, man. This is what you're going to see on here. The adult stars, they come on. They're so real. They're so honest. They're so open, so candid. You get to see a different side of them, behind the scenes look at the industry. So I'm going to keep giving you guys exactly what you demand. The views warrant me to keep getting these guys on the show for you, so that's what we're going to keep doing. Be on the lookout for Jocelyn Stone. She's going to be wild. I guarantee you that interview's coming. So go on the YouTube channel right now. Keeping It Real with Jeff Richardson. Subscribe to the channel. Show love. Become part of our family. My Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys are rocking right now. My Nebraska Cornhuskers are 6-0. Life is good for me. I am out. Positive people doing positive things.